What's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Type back in the video today, and today we're going to be going over my biggest reactions from Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet's Media Day interviews, as today was Media Day, and we got to hear from about all of the players on this Houston Rockets roster going into training camp, and I'm going to go over some other players in this roster, but I wanted to focus on Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet's interviews today. Those two, throughout the roster, those are two guys that I really liked what I heard from both of them. I'm going to start off and talk about what I heard from Fred VanVleet. And I have four things on both of these guys that I really liked what I heard from them. And actually, one of the things for Fred VanVleet is talking about Jalen Green. Two of the other things for Jalen Green is talking about Fred VanVleet. So these guys both gave compliments to the other, and that's something I really like seeing, or really like seeing and hearing. And let's get into it. So starting off with Fred VanVleet, one of the first questions that I really noticed that I really liked that what he had to answer for was about him coming in and helping and being a mentor. He said, "I'm here to help. I'm here to help them grow and develop, and they want to be in who they want to be and help them be who they want to be in this league." So that was one of the things I really liked hearing from him right away. Another thing is he was asked about potentially winning. What's the goal with winning? I guess they're trying to see if maybe he said if he would say the goal is the playoffs. I don't know whoever asked him the question. I don't know what their point was, but he said, "I always aim high. The goal is to get the franchise back to where it's supposed to be at, back to when the Rockets were, he said something like back when the Rockets, he said it felt like yesterday, but back to when the Rockets were supposed to be in the NBA championship. But when you have a couple of bad years of losing, that feels like forever ago." And then he was asked about Jalen Green. He said he's an explosive talent. He's pick number 2 for a reason. Can't wait to help and work with him on and off the court. So I love that. I mean, you're going to hear, once I get to Jalen Green, what I heard from him. He gave compliments to Fred VanVleet on and off the court as well. And I like these two guys. I think they're going to be a very good backcourt. Jalen said it himself. And then he was sort of asked, why, he came to Houston, when Houston, what was his motive to come to Houston when Houston, was one of the worst teams in the NBA last year. He said, there's no reason for me to be, there's no reason for me to be too good to go to Houston. We didn't make the playoffs last year. And when he's talking about we didn't make the playoffs last year, he's talking about the Toronto Raptors, his former team. They were in the play-in, but they lost in the play-in game against the Chicago Bulls. So he said, we didn't make the playoffs, so we were home as well last year. It's not like I was on the championship team and was going to one of the worst teams in the league. I didn't think like that. I really like that, obviously, I think Fred was one of those guys that was thinking, I'm going from a team that is in playoff contention to, and has been in championship, has had championship years, to going to one of the worst teams in the NBA. He said that he really liked Houston and he really liked the opportunity to go to Houston. And I really liked hearing that from Fred VanVleet. And something else that he said, which is not, I didn't have on the list, but really heard it when I heard him say it, is that, a big part of his contract is big part of why he's being paid so much money is because, not only what he's going to be doing on the court, but what he's going to be doing off the court as a mentor. He said that's a huge part of his contract. And then getting into Jalen Green. Jalen Green was asked about what he can improve on going into his third year, and he said, I think defense. I can be a lot better defensively in leadership. The chemistry is good. And then he said, I think chemistry is good with the new guys like Fred VanVleet, Jeff Green, Jock Landale, and Dylan Brooks. I mean, I agree with Jalen. I think, defensively, Jalen needs to be better defensively. Leadership, Jalen needs to be better with leadership. I mean, chemistry, I don't think that's a problem with Jalen. I don't think it ever has been a problem with Jalen. He's been always great with getting along with guys and having okay chemistry on the court. just really couldn't turn that into winning. But now with an improved roster, I think that with better leadership from Jalen, better defense, and better chemistry, Jalen is going to be a very, very impressive player. Then Jalen was asked about his relationship with Fred VanVleet off the court. He said he's like big bro. He said he's like big bro already. We laugh, we joke, we play around. He's been teaching me how to be a leader. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I think these two guys are going to be great friends off and on the court. I think they're going to be a great backcourt, and Jalen kind of gets into that in a second. I'm gonna explain how he explained that. And then another thing that Jalen said was when he was asked about winning, and he said, "I can't wait to get to winning. That's the biggest focus this year is to win." I think that's the message that Ime Udoka, head coach, has passed around. Same thing goes for GM Raphael Stone. And I think this team, some of these guys don't have a lot of experience of winning. Some of these guys do. That's why they brought in Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks and Jock Landale and Jeff Green, two guys who won championships, and Jeff Green and Fred VanVleet. But I think this team will adapt well with the new guys coming in. All right, and then another question about the backcourt with Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green. He was asked about Jalen Green and about himself and Fred, as a backcourt, the relationship on the court. He was asked about off the court, now he's been asked on the court. I think we're going to be a really good backcourt. There's going to be a lot of space. He's a threat from three, so it leads to more drives for me. I mean, I agree with what Jalen's saying here. Fred's going to take a lot of threes. There's going to be a lot of space for Fred and a lot of space for Jalen to get into the hoop and get more drives in than he did last year compared to when Kevin Porter Jr. was at point guard last year for the Houston Rockets. So I think it'll be way more different. Fred VanVleet's a better three-point shooter than Jalen Green. I think Fred VanVleet's a better three-point shooter than Kevin Porter Jr. I think Fred VanVleet creates more space than Kevin Porter Jr. does. I think Fred VanVleet does a lot more better things than Kevin Porter Jr. does, not only on the court, but off the court as well. And I'm not referring to anything of what, the allegations are against Kevin Porter Jr. right now. It's just off the court leadership that Kevin Porter Jr. led before, his allegations happened a couple weeks ago. So I think Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green are going to be a very good duo with each other, and I can't wait to watch them on the court together. I think they have a good relationship already, and I think it's going to be so fun to watch these two guys on the court. We're a week away from the Rockets preseason opener. I'm going to the game. It's against the Indiana Pacers. I'm so excited. I am so excited to watch that game in person. So use them your thoughts on your thoughts on what you heard from Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet in their media day interviews, or anybody else for the Rockets team for that matter. Use them your thoughts. That's the video. If you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Rockets.